Hi, I'm Dave Muecke, and you're watching What's Your Story, where you'll meet interesting people doing interesting things in interesting places you'll never see anywhere else. And here's today's story.
If you've always wanted to get involved in some kind of a successful home business, multi-level marketing has shown itself to be one of the favorites, but you're afraid and you need help. Viggo's your man. Today we're going to talk to Viggo, who will explain how you can get started and actually be one of the successful ones in a multi-level marketing business.
You created a book 3 years ago that's designed to help them think more like a
business.
So,
Yes, it's interesting. When as I said, I retired, and I was looking out for something else. My wife says, go find something else to do, and I was thinking, okay, I've got all this experience in sales.
how old were you then?
This was been 7 years ago.
Okay.
I got all the sales experience, I've got all this training. I've got a program called Viggoisms, where I've had salespeople all over the world use my training system, and I said, boy, what industry really needs help? And it was a network marketing. So I was going to say, well, I'm going to help people in network marketing learn how to sell. Then all of a sudden I realized, wait a minute, that's even worse than that. They don't need how to sell. They don't even know that they're starting a business.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize is when they sign that agreement, they've decided right then and there that they're going to be in business with no knowledge. I do seminars, and in my seminars I always ask the question, how many people have ever owned their own business? Very few hands go up.
Yeah.
How many have ever run a business for somebody else? Maybe a few more hands. How many have ever been in a supervisory position where you trained, hired, and fired? I'm looking at maybe 5% of an audience that have that. And here are people getting into business and not knowing the basics of doing it. Now, most people don't have time to go get an MBA, but there are certain basic things you can do to start a business. And what's great about being in the network marketing business is you can do it inexpensively, but if you set it up correctly, there are huge tax advantages to having your own business.
Yeah. Page 81, you've got 6 steps. I want to just touch on these real quick.
Great.
And we're not going to have a class here,
No, that's fine.
but it's basics. Really, number 1, commit.
Exactly right. It's amazing how many people they get involved. I call it, they get caught up in the hype and hopium of the products.
Hype and hopium.
Yes, the audience of participation, all this. Oh, I can do this.
There's a lot of that.
But they don't realize that when you start a business, you have to be committed.
Yeah.
And they think it's going to happen overnight. I've had the opportunity of being in 4 Inc. 500 companies. They didn't happen overnight. In fact, sometimes we didn't even start a company until after we planned and worked with it for about 6 months. So
they have to prepare. That's number 2.
That's exactly right. Prepare. First of all, get it committed. How many hours are you really going to spend? And I spend a lot of time, and I won't do a lot of training on this, but spend a lot of time with people. How many hours are you going to spend in your business? And they'll say, oh, I'll put 20 hours in, because they're all excited. I said, you have 20 hours right now in your schedule that you could set aside to really run a business. And they go, oh, well, no. So I get them down to 5 hours.
I remember preparing. There was a couple of those MLMs. I prepared. They gave me the manual, and
you read it.
I could read everything I needed.
But there's a lot.
I was prepared.
There's a lot more to it than just that. In there, you'll notice about brain is also making a list. Now, I'm not a big fan of making a list of 100 people.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I would make a list because it's overwhelming. Most people say, I don't know 100 people.
Yeah.
So I say, okay, make a list of 5 people you would like to be in business with.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And then tell them why you want to be in business with them.
What do you do when you run out of your 5 people?
Well, then you'll get another one. It just takes time, but it's just finding those 5. And it's amazing if you do my system and how to do the phone calls and talk with people. I have a pretty close to 85% closing with people who get involved with people.
Probably the thing that most people hesitate on is I don't want to bug my friends about this stuff. So how do you get around that?
Don't get into the business.
Don't get into the business. Don't get them into the business.
Don't get yourself or what if you can't talk to people about what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And you're afraid of doing that, you're not in business.
Yeah.
So that's what I tell people: don't get in business unless you're really committed. Going back to step
one.
Well,
that makes sense, and it's an amazing opportunity for people that allows them to do things they couldn't possibly do otherwise. But at the same time, there's this fallout. There's definitely a fallout rate.
Well, it's interesting. In this industry, it's a 97% failure rate.
97%.
But what's interesting, in most businesses, people start a small business.
Yeah.
In 3 to 5 years, it's 97% of them are gone.
Yeah.
The difference between regular business and network marketing is we do it in about 90 days.
Yeah, so it's quicker.
Yeah. But the same mistakes. They make the same mistakes that small business people make.
Yeah.
Not committed, don't really get themselves prepared. They don't start acting on what they're going to do, knowing how to present their product, things like that.
So number 3 is act.
Act is now doing something physically, emotionally to start running your business. Not necessarily contacting people yet, but getting ready.
So you're not just jumping in.
No, I don't. Again, I'm not the most popular guy in this industry because I don't tell people don't get started right away. If you're going to be in business, you're going to be in business. Business people take time to build their business. They don't just jump into it. Now, and that's unfortunately I don't want to talk about network marketing because I love it. I love network marketing. It's just that the concepts are wrong in teaching people. Just go, you can do it. Let's talk to, go talk to 100 friends and you'll be rich by Thursday.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
And then you go to present. So
then you go to present,
Okay.
And now present is 2 ways, and I'm a big fan of 3-way calling. In other words, today is technology. With technology, you can do what I call ABC calls.
Right.
A's is the person that you're inviting. B is you, which means be quiet, and the C is the customer.
Okay.
And so there's 2 different ways in the presentation. One is learning how to make a phone call to somebody, tell them why you want to be in business with them.
Yeah.
Don't even tell them what the business is.
Yeah.
And I've got a whole system that talks about how to make a list of why you want to be in business with somebody.
Yeah.
And then get them to make that call and then set up an appointment with one of their business partners. It's just amazing how that works.
I have friends I'd love to do business with, and friends I would never want to do business with.
Exactly
but
right.
I still love them.
Sure.
And I noticed there's a lot of men and women who involve their wife or husband. Do you have a percentage on that, maybe, or is it mostly men and women together?
Mostly women. Mostly
women.
Network marketing is mostly women.
Really? Wow.
Because they're looking at it from a standpoint, I can work from home. That's the big buzzwords, work from home.
Yeah.
Be able to do it, so do your kids thing, but also do your business.
Yeah.
But again, they still haven't committed or they haven't got a plan in which they're going to use, and that's
Yeah.
the IRS is looking at you. If you're going to take tax deductions as a business, then you have to be a business.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be a business, and every business I've ever started, I've always had a business plan.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing they ask you. You want to talk about deer in the headlights? Get people in network marketing when you ask them, do you have a business plan?
What happens if you don't have one for the IRS?
Therefore, all your deductions are disallowed.
Really?
It's now considered a hobby.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. No, I know. Most people don't know that.
Well,
and this is just something the IRS has just started within the last year.
Well, if 3% are the ones that are actually making a living doing this, then the rest are pretty much having a hobby, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And the 3% are the ones that are getting in trouble with the IRS right now.
Really?
Because they don't have a business plan.
Ah, okay.
See, a business plan is a living and breathing document.
Yeah.
It's printed and it tells you what you're doing, but it's also got to say if you're not making money, what are you going to do next year to change it? If you are making money, how are you bettering that process and what are you doing with that kind of money? So it's a lot of things. So that's the beautiful thing about what we're trying to do, and I try to teach people is, look, become your own CEO and then find a CFO, CPA to work with. So a CEO's job is to make money. A CFO's job is to help you keep it.
So that would be your husband or wife, maybe?
Husband, wife, your accountant. Hopefully it's your accountant.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of accountants that don't understand home-based businesses.
So you present to them the business plan or the product?
Depends on where you are. And the presentation is really broken down in presenting to people why you want to be in business with them.
Yeah.
If they do want to be in business with you, and I've got a program that teaches people how to ask the right questions to find out if the people want to be in business with them. If they are, then you set up another appointment with them with a business partner who now gives the presentation. So at some time, once you've got your 5 people, they're beginning to start in their business, they're part of your board of directors, then you will start doing presentations for them.
Yeah. And then you mentor.
Mentor.
When does that begin?
Mentoring is after you've got your 5 people and they're starting to build their own businesses. Help them to find 5 people they want to be in business with.
Right.
You mentor these 5 to mentor these 5.
Right,
You're
right.
only working with 5 people. That's what business is all about.
Right, right.
Harvard says you should have never more than 7 people reporting to you at one time.
So the trick is to get them to actually do the same thing that you're
Become
doing.
committed.
Right.
Mentoring is you're working with people on one-to-one. Leading is when you are now one of the leaders and you get to speak at groups and
Okay.
I always look at network marketing kind of like as a family.
Yeah.
You teach your children how to do what they're supposed to do, and they're supposed to teach their children. And then, but the grandchildren are so excited to come and see Grandpa. Well, that's what a leader is.
So, a lot of these conventions and even small meetings and whatnot, there's a lot of hype, a lot of rah, and get you all excited, and so they've got kind of a reputation for just creating a lot of hype and not a whole lot of anything
As I
else.
said, hype and hopium.
Hype and opium. Okay, I like that. So, is there a way to choose people that are more likely to?
Sure.
Okay.
It's not really that hard if you approach them correctly. Everybody wants to approach people about their product, about the business, like you make all kinds of money. I never ever talk about my product or business until I sit down with somebody and say, you know, I've got this little sheet that I use. Why do I want to be in business? And I'd sit down with you and say, okay, look, hi, how you doing? We haven't talked in 5 years, whatever. And then go into this process and then say, hey, and they'll say, what are you doing? And you say, well, and they'll ask me, what are you doing? I say, well, you know, unfortunately, my wife just passed away, but my kids are in college, things are going well, and I just started a new business. And then be quiet for 5 seconds. And if they ask you, what is it? I'm glad you did. I'm glad you asked me because I want you to be a business partner with me.
Yeah. Well, multi-level marketing has become so diverse now that I remember when I was a kid, I used to knock on doors because one of my neighbors sent me out with some lotions and potions and,
Right.
and rubbing stuff into people's skins and cleaning. I had a little piece of carpet and I would show people how I could clean their carpet right at their front door.
Right.
But it's diverse. I mean, you could do everything from create greeting cards online.
Mm-hmm.
You've probably heard of send out cards.
Exactly right.
And it's all digital.
There is not a product right now that is not marketed by network marketing.
Yeah. So if you're not into lotions and potions, you find the thing that really, you find your hot button.
Going back to the commitment program, is find something that you really are passionate about it.
Yeah.
So many people get burnt out because they're continually buying their auto ship,
Yeah.
but they don't like the product.
Yeah.
And you're going to burn them out real quick. The sincerity will go away.
Yes,
If you're trying to recruit people for the money, you're off to a bad start too.
So maybe it's not a good idea to join a business strictly because you like the person or it's a friend. Maybe you need to find something that meets your passion.
Yeah. One of the things that I teach in my CEO, CFO program is, look, don't identify yourself with a product that you're marketing.
Yeah.
Market you.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the steps I make in a commitment is, first thing you're going to do is come up with a company name.
Yeah.
And you're going to register the company.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a business license. It's amazing what's happened to people who've been in this industry for years that have never done that. But the change in their attitude, be able to see a business license on their office wall there, changes them very, I'm in business now.
Okay, so tell me, there's a whole lot of fun going on at these conventions and whatnot, but aside from that, it's, just take a minute and think for a moment. What's the funniest, craziest, most interesting thing that's happened in this business in the almost a decade, I guess, that you've been involved?
I guess probably one of the greatest compliments I had is somebody who'd been in the business for 27 years. Big leader.
Yeah.
And one thing that the false idea is that once you become a big leader, you don't have to work a lot because you're just that. And he finally started using my system. And he said, this is the first time in 27 years that I am not bogged down. I can actually go take time off because I've trained my 5 people to train their 5 people to train their 5 people.
Yeah,
it
good.
didn't have to be centered around me.
Good.
And so that's probably the greatest compliment I can
Okay. So what you're going to give to people in the video magazine that we call VideaZine are just week by week small little tidbits that can be helpful to them to get them launched, to take them to the next level and help them be the 3%.
Correct.
Is that right?
Exactly right.
Cool.